welcome to another episode of the vlog. I am glad you are along for the ride. It is Friday, which means it is time for the Friday 5, where I share 5 things that are on my mind with you, the viewers. Hopefully you enjoy it, learn something, and we grow together, and this will be a great thing. So without any further ado, let's get to it and jump into this week's Friday 5. Number 1. This past week was our anniversary. I didn't make a big deal out of it in social media and everything, because if you know, you know, and if you don't know, you didn't need to know. But I did want to take a few moments on the Friday 5 and right off the top and just say happy anniversary to my wife. She is amazing. In life, every now and then you meet a person who's like your best friend, your confidant, your person who challenges you to get better, someone who can communicate and say difficult things with you and make you listen to things that nobody else would listen to. And she is all of those things in my life. I'm excited and so happy that we get to do this life and this journey together. This year was a cool year because we started dating 19 years ago and we've been married for 18 years. It's official, like we've been Thad and Michael together longer than we've been Thad and Michael separate. And so that is super cool. Last year for our anniversary, one of the cool things that we made a decision to do was we went and got these tattoos. It's a ring tattoo. Hopefully you can see that. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's the Roman numerals date of the day that we got married, and it's tattooed on there partially so that I don't forget what our anniversary is. No, that's a joke. I don't forget our anniversary. The reason that we did it is because one of the cool things about our relationship is there's no plan B. There's no way out. Like, this is really permanent, and some people would say, well, what if things don't work out? That's just not an option for us. And I think that's the way that marriage should be. When you make a commitment to somebody, I just think that's the most important thing that we could do. The commitment in marriage is more important than career. It's more important than finances. It's more important than any of those things. When you make a commitment and you make marriage a thing that is public and you say vows and you do that whole thing, I think that ceremony is important, and it's one of the things that we did, and I believe in it 100%, and there is no plan B. There's not like another option. Like there's no way out. There's no return. We're not doing anything else. So if we have a disagreement or whatever, we've just decided and agreed in our life, we're going to figure it out. That's just the way that I think it should be. And so we live that way, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So happy anniversary, Michael. I love you. If you don't know who Michael is, she is amazing. We introduced her to the vlog a few episodes ago. I'll put a link in the description in the video ago if you want to see who she is and her beautiful face. We spit water at each other in a water challenge. It was ridiculous. You can watch the video if you want. It's unfortunate that most of the time when I shoot these videos, she's not available, so because she has her own job and her own thing that she's doing, and so not most of the time, that's why she's not in the vlog more, is simply because we're not together when I shoot these. So anyways, but she is amazing and awesome, and I love her, and I just want to take a few minutes on the Friday 5 to say happy anniversary. I'm looking forward to the amazing years that are ahead of us and many, many, many more to come. Number 2, something that has been going on in the news for this last week, maybe a little longer than a week now. I just enjoy politics, and I'm not the same type of politic guy like most people. Well, I realize I probably just don't know it all. I don't understand all of the intricacies and ins and outs of politics. I can just sit and spectate from the sideline and kind of have my opinion and put pieces of information together as I see them, and I don't take a lot of time, and I don't devote a lot of time to learning everything like some people do. So I understand that maybe sometimes my views on politics and world events maybe aren't as open as some other people's or as informed of other people's. However, I do have this one thing, and so as President Trump has put a ban on refugees and immigrants and all of that thing, and I know that there's a lot of opinions and a lot of ideas around what should be happening, the one thing that I continue to hear throughout this conversation comes around the concept or the thought of peace, world peace. I actually was following some Twitter feeds the other day, and they were talking about what it would take to live in world peace. And that was a really interesting concept to me, as it definitely plays into the political structure and political temperature of what's going on around what does it mean to live in peace? What does it mean to have world peace? Is that attainable? Here's my take on it. First of all, I don't think world peace is attainable. Here's why. Since the beginning of time, I mean, we're talking about centuries upon centuries of people have been at war with each other forever and ever and ever, and that's never going to change. Why? because you have an opinion and I have an opinion, and oftentimes those two opinions are not going to mesh very well. So this idea of world peace, while I think in concept it's a great idea and I don't have any problems with it and I definitely support it, I understand that the truth is world peace as far as the globe of the sphere called Earth with land and water on it and the people from all over the place, the whatever it is, 7+ billion people that live on this place, we're all never going to be in harmony. But here's what world peace truly means. And I think it comes from the Bible, right? It's Romans chapter 12, verse 18. This is a verse that I think is super important for us to understand. And I think if you're really going to truly have an understanding of what world peace is, I think you have to frame it by God's word. So here it is, Romans chapter 12, verse 18. Paul wrote this to the church in Rome, but it's really a letter to any believer and every human walking the planet. Here's what he said, chapter 12, verse 18. Do all that you can to live in peace with everybody. Check this out. This really got my mind going. If you live in peace with everyone that you know, your world has peace. You have just achieved world peace. If you're a peaceful person and you live at peace with the people around you, like Paul says to do all that you can to live in peace with everyone, you have achieved world peace. Now, does that mean that the world is at peace? Not necessarily, but you as an individual can have world peace. And I think that's probably more important than making sure every country and every human lives in harmony and in peace. Because I don't think that that's really an attainable goal, but what is an attainable goal is you taking care of you. I'm a John Mayer fan, and I really like his music, and I appreciate him as a musician, but he wrote this song, Waiting on the World to Change. And I think it's so true, because if you just sit back and you continue to wait on the world to change, you're just going to be waiting for a really long time, because I don't see that happening anytime soon. But what can happen is you can change. And you can have world peace because your world can be at peace. I think if everybody embraced that idea of my world can be at peace, not necessarily the world being at peace, we could really make some strides and see some amazing things happen in the world around us. So that's number 2, world peace, my world being at peace. Number three. If you know anything about sports, you know that this week is the big week in the NFL. February 5th is the day the Super Bowl is going to be played. The New England Patriots versus the Atlanta Falcons. Two teams I do not like, but I do love to make predictions and I love to talk about football. So here is a very quick prediction for number 3 in the Friday 5. Who will win the game this Sunday? And my prediction is, wait for it, the Atlanta Falcons 38, the New England Patriots 28. 10-point victory for the Atlanta Falcons. New England will lose by 10 points this Sunday. That's my official prediction. I did early in the preseason pick the New England Patriots to win it all, but I did not have the Atlanta Falcons in the playoffs. So now that things have shaken out and changed, just like all the commentators on all the sports shows, this is the choices that we have been given in front of us. And in my expert opinion, I'm not an expert. In my expert opinion, I do believe that the Atlanta Falcons offense will be too much for that New England defense, and we will have an NFC South team as a champion. And even though that NFC South team will not be my Buccaneers, it's good to have the division that has the Super Bowl champion. So that's number 3 Super Bowl prediction. Number 4 in the Friday 5. It is February, which is synonymous with one thing, and that is love. Valentine's Day, February 14th, as a nation, we collectively take a moment to pause and focus on relationships and love and all of the warm, cuddly, fuzzy bears and bunnies that you could possibly muster up in your imagination right now. That's what February is all about, or at least for some people, that's what it's all about. And so for this month, every week on the Friday 5, what I want to do is at some point in those 5 things, I want to take a moment and give you a relationship tip. Now, here's what I want you to understand. I don't think that I know it all. I don't think that I have done relationships right 100%. I'm not like saying that my way is the best way, but I am saying this. I've learned some lessons, and I've been taught by some great people who do marriage well, who do relationships well, and I've observed a ton of things, and I think there's some principles that we can talk about that are foundational. Now, how you apply those principles, this isn't the how-to have good relationships. This is the principles for good relationships. So over the next 4 weeks, I'm going to share one of those, and the first one is simply this, and I'm going to talk about this more on Sunday in our message, so you can go to our Facebook at Sitka Assembly of God, and you can check out the full explanation on this, because I'm not going to dive into it super deep, but here is pro tip, relationship principle number 1 for great relationships, and it's simply this: release the people in your life that you're in relationship with from making you happy. Release the people in your life from making you happy. Now, what does that mean? Here's what that means. Happiness is a unicorn. Happiness is a unicorn. Like, the minute you think you've got an achieved happiness, it's gone. Just as fast as it came, it's gone. And when all you're doing is chasing happiness and you're looking to the people and the relationships in your life to make you happy, you are going to be absolutely miserable, because what makes you happy right now is probably not going to make you happy in 10 minutes, and it's certainly not going to make you happy in a month or a year or 10 years, because we change and things change, and the more things change, the less what you were chasing makes sense. And so when you're in a relationship, whether that's a spouse, a husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, even if it's your boss, coworker, whoever it is, whatever your relationship is, if you are looking to that relationship to make you happy, to fulfill you, to do those things, you're fighting a losing battle, because happiness is a unicorn. It's not attainable. And even if you do get your finger on it, the moment you get it, it's gone forever. The second it came, it will leave just as fast as it came. So what should you be doing instead of trying to find happiness? You release the people in your relationships from making you happy, and here's what you should search for instead of happiness in a relationship. You should search for a person of honor. See, honor is a kingdom principle. It's a biblical principle that will help you, that'll be a foundation that you can build on. Here's an example of a practical honor and how this looks in a relationship. My wife does not like to fold laundry. That's one of the things she absolutely hates. She doesn't appreciate folding laundry. She doesn't mind doing the laundry as far as putting the clothes into the washer, transferring them to the dryer, and pulling them out. That isn't a problem for her. She doesn't have a problem with that. She doesn't mind doing that. But when it comes to actually folding each individual piece of clothing, item of clothing, that's just not her thing. It's not something she likes to do. You could look at what I'm about to say in 2 different ways. Now, I love my wife, and I want to honor her, so I try, when there's a pile of clothing laying on our bed, I try to get to it before she does and fold it. Now get this, I don't do it to make her happy. Her happiness is not on my mind. Now, does it make her happy when I do that? Yes, but her happiness in that action is a byproduct of me honoring her. I want to honor her with my actions. I want to honor her with the things that I say and the things that I do, because honor is a foundational principle that will transfer into so many other situations. If she looked at me solely for her happiness, every time I didn't fold the laundry, she would be in a miserable mood. If we were only doing things for each other to make each other happy, the moment you don't do that action, her mood would go down, she would be bipolar, and things would just be crazy, and it would be a chaotic relationship. But because we've released each other from trying to make each other happy, and we do things to honor each other, when it doesn't happen, my mood doesn't dip, her mood doesn't dip. She's not mad at me because I didn't fold the laundry, because when I do it, she understands that it's because I'm honoring her and I love her. And when she does things for me, it's not that I'm upset, like if dinner doesn't get made at a certain time or whatever. It's not that I'm upset with her and I make her be responsible for my happiness. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. It's unsustainable, which is why I believe we have so much divorce in our country. It's why relationships fail so rapidly, because we continually look for people to make us happy, and instead of understanding, we need to find people who will honor, who have a culture of honor, because when there's honor in the relationship, there's going to be a ton of happy moments, but so much more important than the happy moments, there's going to be real moments. You can have a bond with somebody that will honor you, because when they honor you with their actions, they'll also honor you with their words, and they'll also honor you when you're not looking. There will be little things that happen that it's not because when they're only focusing on happiness, they'll only do things that get shown, right? But when you have a relationship built on honor, things that you don't see behind the scenes happen because that person is more interested in honoring you or you honoring them than just making you happy. I think that's a way better way to have a relationship, way better foundation to build for a future than to just worry about happiness. Happiness comes and go. It's a unicorn. It's not fully attainable. So don't go for happiness. Go for honor. That's number 4 in the Friday 5. We're going to do 3 more of these through the month of February. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Number 5. Number 5 in the Friday 5 is a quote that I got from Edmund Burke. He's an 18th century philosopher. He lived in the 1700s, a philosopher and a writer and an author, and he wrote a ton of stuff, and I was doing some research for a message that I'm going to speak in the future, and I came across some of his writings and some of the things that he said, and I found this quote, and I just went, whoa, that's so good. Here's the quote. Edmund Burke, 18th century philosopher, said, "You can never plan the future by the past." I thought that was amazing, because here was a guy in literally like 1780, like 1700s, so hundreds of years ago, right? And he understood already at that point, in as unadvanced and they didn't have much technology, they didn't have anywhere near the understanding and the stuff that we have today, and he already understood this principle: you can never plan the future by the past. What was in the past is the past. We've got to continue to look forward into what lies ahead. It's actually something that was in the Bible. Paul said, I do this one thing, I let go of what's in the past and I look forward to what lies ahead. So this is just something that Edmund Park, and it just reminded me, man, the future is so much better when we look forward to it and we reach for new things instead of trying to make plans for our future by what happened in the past, because those two things don't connect. The past, it doesn't work out. Anyways, that's the Friday 5. Thanks for watching. Hope this helped you and you've enjoyed this video. Like it on Facebook, share it around, especially if it helped you or you thought something was real good or somebody else could use something that we said. Make sure you share it with them and do that thing. Subscribe on YouTube, as we're getting ready to pass the 50 subscriber mark in just a couple of months. Pretty cool win for me. So thanks, appreciate it, love you guys, and if I can ever do anything for you, just reach out and let me know. I'd love to have a conversation with you or do whatever I can.